have to believe that you can get it all. So I think one of the reasons why we hook up with misaligned people is because we don't believe that we can get it all. We don't believe you can get someone who is aligned. You enjoy spending time with them. You like how they look. They treat you well. We've taught ourselves that that's a fantasy.
Yeah. Hi guys, how are you doing today? Karibuni tena to another amazing conversation. Today I am sitting down with Lillian, whose story has been one of strength, grace, and a lot of healing. She was married for 4 years and then got divorced early 2021. And as we sit down here with her today, we want to reflect on the journey that has been. And not on the journey of pain, no. On the journey of healing. Lilian, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for creating time to be with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And can I just say that I think this day was truly, truly, truly made to happen.
Absolutely.
Because how are we both wearing green?
Green.
Tumeonana tukasema ala.
But I was like, is this for your previous shoot? Ama for this
For this
shoot?
one.
Wow.
For this one. So it was like, yenyewe.
Alignment.
Yeah. Mungu alikuwa amesema this day on the 18th of April.
Yeah.
Good Friday.
Good Friday.
Yes. Judy and Lilian will sit down for a wonderful conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that you're here.
So happy to be here.
But before we get into our conversation of the day,
Yeah.
I would like you to introduce yourself to our people.
All right.
Yes. So there you go.
Thank you. Just before I introduce myself, let me say, I had someone say, ati, wewe ni Gen Z wa kitambo.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. Wanatuitanga.
Spot on.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Juu anasema ni kama tunakataa kuzeeka.
Yeah.
But miaka tumezeeka, kimiaka
Inasonga.
tunazeeka.
Yeah.
Because inasonga, yeah. Me, I'm almost approaching 40.
Oh, my.
Yeah, in
So
very short 2 years I'll be 40.
And then even your voice is still now
Young.
in the 20s. Yeah. So
yeah,
good.
but forever
Perfect.
16. We said
Absolutely.
forever 16.
100%.
Yes. Awesome.
So thank you so much for having me.
Karibu
My name,
sana.
as you've said, is Lilian Gidwi. I am, in just a nutshell, a communications consultant. So many things in the communication space. I'm an author. So happy to say that. My first book is called Rewriting My Love Story. I'm also a YouTuber. Please check out my YouTube channel. It's called The Wellness Show. I am also a mom and many other things now we'll talk about as we go along.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. So now we can dive into our conversation.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, Lillian, I would want you to take us back to the moment. I know we said we don't want to dwell on the pain.
Yeah.
But just to give us like for context and like a backstory. So I've said you were married for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you got divorced in early 2021.
Yeah.
So I'd like you to take us back to that moment when your marriage ended. What did that feel like for you emotionally? And especially the first few months after the divorce? Like how did that feel like to you?
That's a very interesting question. I'm not able to point a finger to the date when my mind accepted that my marriage has ended. And then also, I feel like it ended before I left. So I left in December 2020. December 2020. But I was leaving, like, let me go take a break and then I'll come back. So let me go away for 2 weeks. I just breathe, then I'll come back.
Yeah.
But in 2021 is when I knew I'm not going back. I feel like it ended before that day when I left.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly which day it was that it ended. Because even when I left, even when we decided I'm not going back to my matrimonial home, I still in my mind was like, tutarudiana tu. So I was in denial for a long time. And it was a long, painful season. I did a lot of research and I was watching shows about it. So the word for it is limerence. When you're stuck on on a flame that does not exist.
Okay.
And so just kept waiting for things to turn around, things to go back to what they used to be. I believe for me, the first 3 years of my marriage were so good. It was what I wanted. And then it changed and became something else. So I kept like thinking that those 3 years are going to revert. Like I'm going to go back to those days. So it was painful. It was so painful. The grief is so much. It's a thing. Like it's almost a solid thing. I'd cry a lot. I'd pray and fast. I would go to the prayer mountain to fast to pray for my marriage to be restored. I would bargain with my ex-husband, and then he had checked out completely. So the bargaining was even more painful because when you're trying to force issues with someone who has moved on, you feel stupid every time you reach out. So it was extremely painful. Yeah.
I can imagine that. I can only imagine that. Not that I can imagine it.
Yeah.
So how long was it between because as you said, the first time you left home was to just take a breather.
Yeah.
2 weeks, you breathe, you come back.
Yeah.
And then there was the battle in between before now divorce actually happens. So there's the duration of the separation. How long was it? How long was the separation actually? That would be the question.
The separation was about a year and a half because the divorce was fine. So I was served. As in, I remember opening my email. I'm like, guy, I've been served. You know, like I'm 30. I'm too young. So I was served divorce papers in April 2021. Then I pushed back. We wrangled a little bit in court, and then it was finalized in 2022, August.
Okay, so that is when the official decree now came out. And it was official now.
Yes.
The marriage has been dissolved.
Yes.
I can imagine. I can just imagine. That's from 2020, because you said 2020 December is when you felt like now things are not working
out. Yeah. So from the end of 2020 to I think the third quarter, August 2022. So I'd say 1.5 years of separation before the divorce was finalized. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So they say healing in any form, healing in any form is a very personal journey.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to find out if for you, if there are any specific things or anything that you did in particular to help you in that journey, to help you move forward.
Yeah.
Like if there are any specific things that you did now after August 2021, after you knew now this one it is officially over.
Yeah.
So from that moment, was there something that you were very intentional in doing?
Yeah.
Things that are very specific to help you move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just smiling to myself when you say after I knew it was over. Let me tell you, even in August 2022, I was still like, it can still get back together. Yeah, I was so stuck. I was so stuck on the idea of reconciliation. But anyway, it was still painful either way. Like whether I was hoping for reconciliation and when I wasn't. I feel like when I stopped hoping for reconciliation, then I really got true healing. What specific things I did, number one was therapy. I got a therapist. He was journeying with me. And so I would go for sessions. But I would also, like, he was so good. He was so good. Let me shout him out.
Please do, yes.
Shout out to you, Reverend Gikonyo. He really poured himself out into that therapy journey. I feel like he could have just had the sessions with me and stopped there, but he used to check on me. There was a time I was hosting a show and I was about to go live, and then he called me. So we were close, and I wondered, why are you calling me? You know I'm about to go live. And he said, that's why I'm calling you. I wanted to pray with you. And so I feel like with just that presence, it really filled a gap that I had been missing. Because in the 3 years of my marriage that had been working, that had been what Jones, in my book I call him Jones, that had been what Jones was to me. He was someone who prays with me, we talk, I bounce ideas off of him. So Rev held that space for me. If I ever needed to bounce an idea off of him, when I was having wrangles with Jones, I learned over time to call Rev first before I react. One of the things I would do a lot that I think would make things worse is if Jones upset me, then I reacted. So reacting always made it worse. It would always come out like, okay, now I'm the bad person, you know. But then when I'd call Rev Gikonyo first and tell him, this has happened, what do? I feel like going to court, you know. Then Rev would give me a male perspective and help me understand the mind of this guy. Because now you see we've parted ways, but we're still co-parenting. Yeah, so he did give me a male perspective, and I think that really helped me over time. It also helped me to regulate myself, to stop being so reactive. So there was a time that Jones was dating, and he was dating publicly, and so it would really hurt me, and then at one point I called him. I was making an inquiry, and his person was on loudspeaker, so she started talking to me. So we got into a fight, and then I called Rev after that fight. I hadn't seen it coming. So I called Rev. I was like, oh my God, I got into a fight. I feel so stupid. What am I going to do? What should I have done? So Rev told me what you should have done is you should have hung up. You should have plugged out.
Yeah.
Don't, next time if that happens, don't go deeper. Don't engage. So anyway, I apologized for my role in it. But I feel like having that person to journey with, and someone who was sober and not gonna tell me, how dare he put you on loudspeaker, how dare she talk to you, you know, someone who was not going to incite me further really helped.
I like that. And I like that the fact that the person you sought out for therapy was actually a reverend. Because I feel like when you're healing from something, and then the person you're talking to has a mix of both, you know, like the social aspect of things, but also a bit of the Bible and a bit of Christianity. That really helps in, you know, sobering you up quickly in that journey. I wouldn't say quickly, but I feel like it adds a bit of value to the journey and the conversation that you have.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
So I like that. But other than therapy, I'm wondering if there's anything else that you did.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good question. So let me just linger on therapy a bit. The thing about therapy that can be confusing is that different therapists have different schools of thought.
Yes.
So you can even find another therapist who will be pushing you towards reconciliation. And I mean, I think the idea is just to find somebody who shares the same school, who resonates, but also to be guided by God. I feel like as you go through it prayerfully, then you'll be able to know, hey, I'm not gelling with this therapist, or perhaps my season with this therapist is over. That also happens. And sometimes when you've been so attached to someone, you can get stuck. You can get hung up on that person and want to go with them throughout your life. Yet the season was just like, there's someone I was seeing just before my marriage broke. And then when my marriage broke, I really felt like my season with that therapist was over. So discerning also which therapist resonates with you. Are you in sync with this therapist? For me, is also something to watch out for. What else did I do? Let me tell you something I did that was not... Okay, it was helpful.
Yeah.
First of all, it gave me content for the book.
Yeah.
Also, I learned a few lessons, but not in a very traditional way where you read it from a book or hear it from someone, but I learned it in a very tactile way, was Rebound. I knew I should not get into Rebounds, but I don't know, zilikuja na maji.
Walipiga mstari.
Hey, my God, I don't know. Even now I look back, I'm like, Mimi, nikaingia kwa Rebound.
Yeah.
You know how you're looking at your math paper and you got some questions wrong, but half of them, it was 1 + 1, you wrote 3.
Yeah.
Like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Anyway, I learned a number of lessons from those Rebounds. The first one was, so I'll talk about 2 out of the 3. Yeah. So there was a guy that I was dating because I just wanted to get married and carry on with my life. And I was feeling like this divorce thing has stalled the progress I was making. Because when I had been younger, I really wanted to get married at 25 and get my kids before 30. You know, those 2 dreams we have.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was working out pretty well. I got married at 26. By 30, I had my baby. So at 30, I was feeling like, yeah, I'm on track. And then all of a sudden, at 31, things fall apart. Yeah. And then I started exploring the idea of, why not just get married? You can just get a nice person, a decent person.
Yes, because you're still very young.
Yeah. And don't wait for too long. Don't wait until you're too old, and just carry on with your life. So the first guy I was dating was someone I was not actually into. Like, I don't think I liked him romantically. It was just something I was doing just to carry on with my life. And then I think also for me, because I'm a Christian, but I know this happens also for people who are not really spiritual. Sometimes your psyche can just reject something. So eventually I had to break up with him. And I know he was heartbroken. Because I had really invested in it over a short period of time.
Yeah. How long was it? How long was the relationship?
It was short. I think it was like 3 months. Yeah, it was like 3 months. But I had been really at my sweetest, at my best. You know, I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm going to get back in the game. And then I feel like Holy Spirit just said, no.
Yeah.
So I studied that, and let me put a bookmark on it. I think I'll go back to it maybe towards the end of our conversation.
Yes, because my next question was actually, what would you say are the pros and cons of a rebound?
Yeah.
Especially in that season. But I'm assuming that is where we are putting you will come back to it.
No.
Emma, you can answer that one.
Pros
and cons.
Pros and cons.
That situation.
Okay.
Yes, like of a rebound during that particular season of your life.
Yeah. I saw such a funny reel where somebody was crying and saying my rebound broke. I'm in pain, but did it help me to get over my ex? Yes. A win is a win. Yeah. So anyway, well, that was just a funny reel. You do feel like it helps you get over your ex. But it's momentary. If you really are hung up on your ex, you will... Once the rebound breaks up, you'll be mourning the rebound and the marriage. Like, now you'll have 2 things to mourn.
Yeah.
I think that a con of a rebound is just getting in there's what you tell yourself you're doing. You tell yourself this is a genuine relationship. But usually you're just trying to fix something.
Yeah.
And someone will get hurt. Usually you will get hurt. And sometimes the other person, usually let me say, is the other person that gets hurt. Yeah, because they don't know that this is not authentic for you. Yeah. And unfortunately for you, sometimes you also don't know that this is not authentic for you. You're telling yourself what you want to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a pro is that momentary fix, which I honestly would not recommend. It's really a momentary fix. So you will have to deal with whatever you're fixing
Fast.
eventually. Yeah.
So, Lillian, in divorce can sometimes feel very... divorce is very lonely.
Yeah.
It's not even that it can sometimes feel. No, divorce is lonely.
Yeah.
And also divorce sometimes comes with shame or guilt or even judgment from the society. Did you ever experience any of that?
Yeah.
And if you did, like, I'm curious to know how you made peace with that situation.
Yeah. So first of all, let me say there's something you said yesterday. I don't know if we're going to come to it or I can just dig in now.
Yeah.
But you were asking about healing for the parents, healing for the larger family.
Yes.
Because everyone is in some kind of pain.
Exactly.
Some people are in so much pain that you put your pain aside to help them.
Yes.
Yeah. And for me, that person was my grandmother. Okay, my parents were also in a lot of pain and confusion. It was just a very difficult situation for everyone.
Yeah.
Hey, my shosho was so affected. I literally had to help her deal with it. Please remind me what the question is.
Like, have you faced any shame or guilt?
Shame or guilt.
It's like judgment from the society
Yeah.
because of the divorce.
Yeah, okay. So that's why. So society. So first of all is family. They're also dealing with a lot of pain. They're also disappointed. They're also giving you ideas of what you should do. Maybe you should talk to him.
Yeah.
Maybe you should get married quickly. Don't let him think that he's the only person don't let him win. Don't let him get away with it. So sometimes, like, I was incited to go to court and put up a fight. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, I don't think I should have. But it's because there were so many people around me who were telling me, don't let him get away with it. You're just sitting there and he's walking all over you. And so I started feeling like, maybe I'm too soft. So it's those advices that people give you and the suggestions that people give you that can also mislead you. Even that thing of why not just get married and carry on was something that was presented by someone. And I think because my marriage hasn't worked, I also feel like I don't know anything. Okay, so I'm also so open-minded. Whoever is going to give me an idea that sounds strong enough, I'll try and run with it. And I would say that I did do stuff that I wouldn't do now at that time because of what society was saying. Society is usually not more than 10 people.
It's true. It's true.
Just a few
and it's the people closest to you.
Yeah.
It's your family, it's your closest friends. Yeah.
Again, what really helped me, what really grounded me was that particular therapist. And he didn't come immediately. Alikuja after I've already done like 2 rebounds. I think I was in court, but getting out or just gotten out of court.
Yeah.
So I had already done some madogo than you. But having one person that I converge all my information to, it really grounded me. And also someone who was not immersed in this thing. So he was giving me a balanced perspective, almost detached perspective. There's a time I didn't talk to him for 1 week because I felt like he was what's the word? Defending Jones. I'm like, hey, whose side are you on?
Yes,
you are my therapist.
Yes.
Don't tell me good things about Jones.
Yeah.
But if there was something good about Jones, he'd tell me about it. I want to talk about the guilt and the shame. I think for me, my first instinct was to hide. Then when I stopped hiding, I started building a new community. So I moved from one church to another. I think that's a plus. That was a good thing I did.
Yeah.
I sometimes feel sad when people say, we left church, not God. Because one congregation has hurt you, you don't actually need to remove yourself from the whole concept of community. Yeah. I think going back to the church where I got married was a complete no. Not because I was being judged or anything, but even just my sanity, you know. But there's a time I went back there, and I'll say this. There's a lady I was listening to, and she was talking to divorced women. She was saying, if you're divorced, you need to glow, you need to look good, you need to look classy, you need to be confident in yourself, as in just live your life. And the way she put it was so nice. She painted a picture of a classy lady who is minding her business and taking care of her kids. And so that's how I carried myself, with confidence, with beauty, even when I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
But I purposed to carry myself like that. And one moment really stands out for me. I was going to my home church for a function. I think someone had passed away, so I was going for a funeral service. And so I got in there with my 2 heels and my whatnot. And a certain lady told me, oh my God, Gwedierege.
Nice.
That is, should I sell you again?
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like when you walk with confidence, I don't know, there's something
there's something good that you attract.
Yeah,
Yes.
it neutralized the guilt and the shame. And even just being unapologetic for existing. Because guilt and shame is a sort of apologizing for existing. And anyone can feel it. If you're married and you're at home and your spouse tells you, what kind of a person are you? Look at you. Nothing good on you. If you carry that, if you absorb that energy, you will feel guilt and shame, even if you are married.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like that helps me to deal with the guilt and shame. Just putting my head up, makeup kombali, doing your hair. Routines also helped me. I had a lot on my plate. I was taking care of my son. When I left, I didn't have work. So it was so urgent that I find work. So I buried my head in it. I also took up French classes. French has been my go-to. Every time I'm having a crisis, I resume my French classes.
That's interesting. So, It's a very interesting hobby.
So learning French is a hobby. I'm a partial French speaker. So I don't know if enough crisis will help me learn French kabisa.
That's very interesting. I did French in high school. Actually.
You did?
Yes.
Oh, great. Yeah. Fantastic. So routines and just putting my head down to work also helped. I think immersing yourself in work for a while can help you. It can ground you and keep you busy.
Yeah.
Give
your mind occupied.
Yeah, give you a cycle to coast in as you deal with the other madogodanyo in your life. Yeah.
I like that. It's a busy schedule, which is good in any situation, actually.
It is.
Yeah.
Though I feel like there are some seasons of rest.
Rest is very important as well. Yeah. But I'm just saying, sometimes when your mind is troubled about something, sometimes getting something to occupy.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
Sometimes. Not every time.
Not every time, and also not at the expense of actual healing work.
That's it. Yes.
Because if you bury yourself in work and you're not doing actual healing work, the day you pop your head out to even like date or get out there, you are going to throw some negativity at someone. You're going to be full of negativity, so it will catch up. So I feel like it's a good it's like a dessert. It's a good dessert to help you deal with pain. Yeah.
I like that. So you mentioned other than work, you had your son who kept you busy. So I want us to talk about motherhood for a bit, because you're a mom, I know, to a wonderful 6-year-old boy, right?
Yes.
Yay. And you're co-parenting. So how has that been like for you?
Okay. My God. Most of the tea is in my book. I don't know if I have so much courage to say what I wrote. I find that writing can give you, there's a courage you get when you're writing that you may not have when you're speaking. But I will say, I think my son's dad and myself have both tried to be the best versions of ourselves for him.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah. The conflict is usually that if we, the grown-ups, don't trust each other, like he doesn't think I'm doing my best, or if I don't think he's doing his best.
Yeah.
And then we have perceptions of what best is. If you go to court, the courts usually say that the parents are required to contribute to the child's life 50-50. So that is ideal in an ideal situation.
Yeah.
But there's some situations where 50-50 would not make sense. There's no such thing as 50-50. If, for example, if my 100% in terms of finances would be 5% to you,
Yes,
you know.
yes. Yeah.
Or even in terms of time. There's a parent who has more time than the other. There's a parent who has more finances than the other. So what I learned is to make the choice that is the best for the child.
Yeah.
As I was coming, I was just feeling so grateful to you for having us on your show, because your show usually focuses on a traditional family setup.
Yes.
And then this conversation, many people don't actually have it from someone who has had an experience. Yeah. So there was a time I was watching Inoro. My parents love Inoro so much. And there was a lawyer.
So does my mom.
Right?
Yes. She's a big fan of Inoro.
And that goes to say that it's shaping our parents' minds so much, or whoever is watching, right? And one day, I think this was divine. I was seated with my parents and watching. There was a lawyer who was saying that they're talking about co-parenting, and the lawyer was saying that women who give primary custody to their husbands to their fathers of their children are very irresponsible women. So me, I'm sitting there like, mimi nimepeana primary. So me, I have secondary custody. And it's a decision I felt was just customized for my son.
Yes.
I wouldn't tell everyone to do it. But when I looked at all the things, I felt this is best for my son. It took so much sacrifice from me, and it was a painful decision. I think I tried to fix the pain of just that one decision with a whole relationship, with a whole other rebound relationship. Yeah. So I am grateful that I can sit here and say it's okay to make an unconventional or a non-traditional decision if you really are genuinely led to do so.
Exactly. And if you have your child's best interest at heart.
At heart,
yeah. Because that's the main focus at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was in contrast to what society was. Yeah, those two people.
Mtoto ni wa mama. Hivyo ndo wanasemanga. Mtoto ni wa mama.
Ni wa mama. Fight for it.
Mtoto ni wa baba na mama. Mtoto wako na wazazi wawili.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes if you as a mother give the father that it's not even give, but just allow him, because he doesn't mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's an equal parent.
He's a parent. Yeah.
He's a parent, just like you are a parent to
Yeah.
the child. Yeah.
And sometimes people will really be vexed by that decision. But I just feel like it's so important, and so it's so important to be led by the Holy Spirit, because this decision is not for everyone, and it's also not for every season. But I felt so good the other day when I was talking to his teacher. I've always been concerned, like, is this thing going to affect him? And so I asked his teacher, just so honestly, I told her, I wonder sometimes if the co-parenting thing affects him. And the teacher told me, oh no, he's a very pleasant young man. He's so pleasant. And then I was like, yeah, but does he defend himself? If somebody pushes him, will he defend himself? She said, yeah, he will. He knows how to defend himself. He knows how to report people. He knows how to tell people to stop. I was so refreshed by what the teacher was saying, because I felt like if it's working for the child, then it's the right thing to do. Then also on the society thing, sometimes society will lead you to having a fight that's not ending. Yeah. And then this fight is going to affect the child, because children absorb fighting energy so much.
That's true, yeah.
And in a way, sometimes I think divorce is not always a bad thing. If it's going to give the child some peace, it's not always a bad thing. Yesterday I was having a conversation with my son, and it's because I think sometimes some problems can be solved just by acknowledging. You can be sad and someone tells you, you look sad. And then you cry, and then the sadness goes away.
True.
And they haven't given you a solution. So I was having a conversation with my son, and I was telling him, your name is R, and say my name is R, and I belong to Jesus, and I belong to mommy, and I belong to daddy. So we had that conversation, and so he was parroting me. And then he said, what about you? So I told him, my name is Lilian. He wanted me to use my name.
Yes.
And because he used all his 3 names, he also wanted me to use all my 3 names. So my name is Lilian. And today people discover that my second name is Nyagodhie. So I told him, my name is Lilian. No, my name is Lilian Nyagodhie Kithui. Okay, my name is Lilian Nyagodhie Kithui, and I belong to Jesus and to R. And then he said, and to daddy. And I told him, no, I don't belong to daddy. I don't belong to daddy, but I belong to Jesus. And I belong to R. And then he just understood it wasn't a big deal the way you'd imagine. You'd imagine, hold your breath, you're traumatizing the child. But I think sometimes if you just say it, then the child's like, oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, because he's sorted. He's getting the best of each side of the family, and he's getting what he needs. Yeah.
I like that. So how old was your son when you... the first time you left home?
Yeah.
How old was he?
He was, you're making me do math. Because now it has to add up.
So you said in December 2020.
Yeah, he was born in September 2019.
2019. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
let's work with the final divorce, which is 2021 August.
Okay, so let me tell you something.
Yes.
My son is 5 turning 6.
5 turning 6. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, not officially 6 years old.
Yeah.
So he was still very young.
He was still very young.
And that can be quite something, because raising a child, because he's still very young, a child who needs his mother like constantly, raising a child while you are on a healing journey yourself. How was that?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for saying that. Postpartum is so difficult all by itself.
Very difficult. Oh my God.
Postpartum is just a thing all by itself.
Let me tell you, there's You know, when Mumbus is 15 years old.
Yeah.
So it's been 15 years since I gave birth.
Yeah.
15 years is a long time, right? So it's just recently, because now of social media and the internet, and now you can access information from anywhere. Like information is at your fingertips, because you'll go on TikTok, you'll see a reel talking about a particular subject. And I remember when the conversations around postpartum became very spoken about on the internet.
Yeah.
And I remember actually going to Google, like, postpartum, watu wanaongelelea ni nini? And then it hit me. Like, when I had Mumbus, I had a serious bout of postpartum, but I had no idea.
You did?
Yes, but I had no idea.
Depression or what?
Because I remember waking up and crying, like, unalia. Serious.
Yeah.
But you see now, back in my day, which now I can say that.
We don't believe you. You look so good.
15 years is a long time ago.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Postpartum was not a thing that anybody was talking about.
It wasn't.
So I did experience some serious postpartum, but hata hatukuwa tunajua ni kitu ama it's even a sickness.
And there's a way it catches you off guard. Like, let me tell you, me, I'm opposite of you. I had read about it like I was reading for an exam. But still, when that's depression, for me it was baby blues. I don't even know what it was. Sometimes even the doctors don't diagnose it.
Yes.
You're just so sad. I remember telling my guy now, this sadness it's like a chemical sadness. Everything makes you sad. It's crazy. Yeah.
So I can't imagine you having to deal with postpartum.
Yeah.
Because you have postpartum, raise this baby, and still go through divorce.
Yeah. Hey, ni God manze.
Yes, and the healing. Like, what is it that you did for that season, especially with the baby? Like, what is it that you did? I don't know, kama ni community. They came on board to help you, marafiki nini, because that was definitely something.
Remember I told you I didn't have a job. So I was moving from my matrimonial home and I went to stay with my brother and his family. My ideal preference would have been that I leave and go to my own house. But now in hindsight, I think that was divine. Just having family around me was so grounding. One day, my brother's wife, she's amazing. She told me, I think you're ready to leave now. I wept. I don't want to go. I really, and it wasn't a comfortable, it wasn't it was a family that was squeezing things up to accommodate me, right? So it would have been very good for me to move out. But actually, the community was so helpful. My sister was very gentle. My brother's wife, she was so gentle. She was so empathetic. That when I could have moved in with my parents, but I think I had that option of moving in with my parents, but I just felt like I was being led to move in with my brother and his family. And in hindsight, I think that was, I don't know how people would do it without God, because I find that he organizes some things. I think my sister is so gifted. She just understands grief. There's a day I was telling her about my co-parenting struggles. So every now and then you have a struggle that you're telling someone about. And then she gave me a foot rub. And then I wept, I cried, and then that grief left. So I was asking her, how did you know it was in my feet? It felt like, are you a herbalist? Bless her. Bless her completely. And then my brother was a very, he holds space. My brother is good at holding space. He doesn't create a lot of templates that you have to live by. So it was like whatever works for you, if you want to go out, if you want to come in. So there was just that freedom. So let me say that living with people is not easy either. I think one thing I did right was that I also really used my resources, my time. I had a little money. So I was also really trying to add value to their family.
Yes.
I sincerely believe that I also added value to their family. So the whole thing was divine for both of us. Community is so important. I would say be led by the Holy Spirit rather than having templates of who you think will help you. Because sometimes the person you think will help you
might not have the capacity at that particular
exactly,
time. Yeah,
exactly. I honestly loved spending time with my son. Maybe that I would say was a God-given mother instinct. It's called mother instinct. I loved spending time with him. I loved teaching him how to do stuff. At that time, I had primary custody in the very early stages.
Yeah.
And actually giving him a routine was soothing for both me and him. Just knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
That was soothing for both of us.
Which is also very important for children as they grow up.
Yeah.
Like having a routine that you stick to. Yeah.
Yeah. Something to expect. And I was so busy mothering him. I think that, oh gosh, there's a day I was crying. I told you the grief was a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot of crying. There's a day I was crying. I was just in the room alone. I was giving him lunch. We were having chapati and stew. So tears just started falling. And then my son, he was holding a chapati. He gave me. He was like a year and a few months. Yeah. So he didn't know why he gave me a chapati. Yeah. My son also, I believe that, again, the Holy Spirit works through children. Because at one point I had a nanny who was also going through a very difficult separation. And she was sad. And she used to tell me sometimes she will lie on the couch and the tears will start falling. And then my son will go and pat her.
They actually say that kids are very good at picking up on emotions. Both happy and sad emotions.
Sad. Yeah. So how I can say I did it, I don't have like a 1, 2, 3, but absolutely faith is the thing that slips through your fingers because you're so disappointed with the process, with God. Why did you do this to me?
Yeah.
But it's also the thing that will help you. So it's quite a fight. It's quite a struggle. I would say pray, even if you can't pray a lot, say the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah.
Like hang on to it. Hang on to faith. Because if you lose faith, then you become suicidal. Yeah, just to cut the long story short. If you lose faith, you become suicidal. You begin, depression now really takes root. And I can say, I think the only thing I did was to hang on. Yeah, and that helped me.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Good. And you wrote a book.
And I wrote a book.
Rewriting?
My Love Story.
My Love Story.
Yes.
Please tell us a bit more about your book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me talk about what healing looks like. Healing looks like, there's a verse in the Bible that says, no eye has seen, no ear has heard what the Lord has planned for his people. So first, I didn't even imagine I would let go of the idea of reconciliation. I was hooked and I didn't want to let go of that idea. You know, when you're addicted to something,
yes,
there's a stage where you don't want to even be healed from the addiction because of the high it gives you, the fix gives you. Yeah. So healing looked like being able to let go of that idea of reconciliation. And 2024 for me was my hallmark year. Jana. Nikama jana.
Juicy too.
Yeah. That was the year when I didn't date and I wasn't obsessing with my ex. And then I got into entrepreneurship. So I left employment, I got into entrepreneurship. So it was also a first for me, getting into the world of not having structure. Structure is very helpful.
Yeah.
So towards the end of 2024 is when I got a very strong urge to write. I've always started books, but I've never finished any book. This is my first book to finish.
Okay.
And so, and when I started it, it was just flowing. It was flowing out. I really enjoyed writing it. It was just about the highs and lows. I've tried to be very raw about it because I know sometimes when people talk about divorce, they don't go as deep because we want to hide the difficulties. So for me, I went all the way. I went deep. I shared my most difficult moments. I talked about my struggle with faith. I talked about, so one of the things that happened in 2023, so 2023, mid-2023 is when I stopped dating.
Yes.
And then I started really just dealing with what was left of my grief. It was also the year I gave up. I switched custody and took secondary and gave up primary. And that was very, very difficult for me. I talk about in my book how I lost faith and I became suicidal at some point. I was just seeing like, this is not working. And maybe it's not gonna work. Maybe it's just not gonna work. So, just what God was taking me through and how God was helping me to find my faith again. I think now that when you're healed, your chances of dating the wrong guy or marrying the wrong guy are very low. It is almost, if you're really healed and whole, it's the chances are slim that you will date or marry the wrong person. And then that means that also you will not hurt people, because sometimes when you're in that space when you're unhealed and getting into misaligned relationships, you're also hurting people.
Yeah, true.
So healing has been refreshing for me. Even if I am single, it's a different kind of single. I am not jaded. I'm not upset with the male gender.
Yes.
And I'm also not looking for a fix. If I'm sad, I know what I need to do to regulate myself. There was a period in 2024 that I was so sad and I felt like I needed to swim. So I went swimming and I was swimming a lot that month. And I felt like my body... So what happens is that also when you have a lot of pain... Are we out of time?
No.
Okay. When you have a lot of pain that you're dealing with, your body starts to... your body keeps count. That is what is said. So for me, I know that my anxiety and fear and negative emotions go fast straight to my reproductive system. And I've had endometriosis before. So when I went through therapy and putting 2 and 2 together, anxiety is something I've really struggled with. And so in that period of time in 2024, when I was sad, it was related to work. So in that period in 2024, when I was really sad, and then I started going swimming, I didn't know that swimming would help. It was just also a very hot season, and I
Cool down.
Yeah. But I also noticed that my body, which had been like looking like the endometriosis will recur, it calmed down. And so I think that you can heal without having to get a fix, or you can get a fix from things that will actually give you a fix.
That are actually good for you.
That are actually good for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. You can pray. So I started understanding prayer in a different way, that you don't have to feel like praying to pray. Or if you pray, even if you don't feel like it, or you don't necessarily believe that God will help you, He does. Like prayer has power that is outside of your faith. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
You do have to have some bit of faith to even pray. But sometimes you will say things. You'll say, Lord, I know you will help me. I know you will show me. I know you will make a way. And as you say those things, then you will get help.
Yeah.
Especially sadness. Sometimes I feel like sadness is also, and I'm not over spiritualizing it, but sometimes I feel like extreme sadness is spiritual. And that's why if it's unchecked, it leads you either to chronic diseases or to suicidality. So it's so important that you actually learn how to deal with grief. So my book is about all those things. It's about learning how to deal with grief and just practical ways that you can deal with grief and what healing looks like. Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
So for anyone who's interested in buying the book, I want to show them the book. Yeah, so for anyone who's interested in buying them, you're so beautiful on the cover. You look so gorgeous. So for anyone who's interested in buying the book, where do they find it?
Yeah, so right now you can get the book at Nuria Store. It is along Moi Avenue, the Bazaar Building, first floor, shop 12.
Okay.
They also ship worldwide and they do deliveries in Nairobi and outside of Nairobi.
Okay.
Yes. Or you can DM me if you have a separate inquiry and we'll be able to, I'll be able to assist.
Good.
Yes.
All right. So I will make sure I leave all those details in the description box.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, please I'll leave all her social media handles and exactly where to buy the book she mentioned. Yeah. And now talking about the book, I would like to buy this book for five people in my audience.
Really?
Who would love to read it. Maybe someone who's in the journey right now, who's maybe going through divorce, or someone who's going through a heartbreak and feels like this book would be of help. I want to purchase for 5 people.
Wow.
Yes, but this is how we do it, guys. I'm going to leave my email address here. Right? So you need to send me an email and tell me why you deserve this book. Rewriting my love story. Yes. And I want to gift 5 of you. Yeah.
Wow.
Cindy.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
bless you.
This is a very beautiful book. Sijaisoma hata mimi actually nitachukua sita, ndio one of the books is mine.
Iko yako.
Ndio nisome sasa.
Sawa. That's okay. The 6th one is my gift to you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So Lillian, as we wrap up our conversation, because I feel like we've covered some we've had a very good conversation.
Yeah.
For anyone out there who's watching us right now and listening to this story and is probably going through a heartbreak or is probably just out of marriage and is feeling very lost, what would you tell them?
My goodness. So one last thing I want to say before I answer your question. I get this a lot. Let me say that divorce is not always a bad thing. I feel like the word has gotten very bad rep.
Yes.
It's not always a bad thing.
Yes.
The cases where divorce is not a bad thing is where you are continuing on your purpose journey. And sometimes you were in a marriage that was going to halt your purpose journey. You are going to become stunted. You are not going to grow. Ulikuwa unafifia. And now that you're divorced, you're able to go back to your journey. So it's not always a bad thing. And what I've gotten a lot is that sometimes when I tell people I'm divorced, I have seen some married women look at me with some kind of aspiration.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like, how is it on that side? It looks like the pastures are greener on that side. And it's not all, but it will be those ones that are in marriages that have no affection and that are draining and have been so for a long time, so that this is not just a season. It's actually not gonna change. So if you're thinking of ending your marriage, that's the question I get a lot. Like, where do I begin if I want to end my marriage? first you begin on a healing journey. And I believe that healing can happen anywhere. Even as you're being injured, you're healing the ones you can heal by being intentional about it. And being intentional is now deciding who will handhold you on that journey and approaching that person and just starting that journey. You might approach someone and they turn you down. Maybe they're too busy. But you started that journey of writing Judy an email and saying, I really want the book. I'm going through this. I'm in a difficult marriage. Yeah, but just intentionally gathering information that will help you heal. Because when you're healed, you tend to make better decisions.
True.
You're not making impulsive decisions. You're not jumping to the wrong conclusions. You're aware of what your weaknesses are. Usually what makes it difficult to leave a marriage is because there are things that... there are ways you've been wronged, but there are also ways you've wronged this person.
The other person,
And the ways that you've wronged this person can keep you in that marriage. Can make you justify to stay in that marriage. Yeah. So as you go on that healing journey, you'll be able to see whether this is it me who needs to change my attitude? Or is this actually not a functional marriage? Yeah. Healing. And then the second thing is planning. If you really do decide to leave your marriage, don't wake up one day and... so help you God. Don't wake up one day and take all your clothes and leave and the kids and leave. Don't run away with the kids. People do that. Don't go to a different country with the kids and then they can never see their father and you've locked out their father forever. Be fair. Be fair. Be fair to the kids and be fair to this other person. I feel like the Bible has, in a very subtle way, given us a sort of a checklist for when you want to leave someone. There was a time that Joseph wanted to leave Mary, and the Bible says that he wanted to leave her silently. In those days, what she had done against him was enough for, like, if he told the society, or the legal system, she should have been stoned. Imagine. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
But also the probably, sometimes perception of something, societal perception can make the thing more painful. Nowadays, if your wife cheats on you or is having another man's baby, it might not be as painful as it would have been for someone like Joseph in those days when it was due for capital punishment, But even then, he still planned to leave her silently. And then the Lord dealt with him, spoke to him about it. So be fair to this person. That's all I want to say. Just be humane. This is a person. They have emotions. Give them due consideration as you're planning your exit. But do plan, because sometimes when you make an impulsive decision, it leads to so many other problems that will crop up, so many unforeseen problems. So do talk to a spiritual leader, a therapist, a lawyer. Sometimes people don't know what the court really actually says about co-parenting. And other times people don't understand current court culture. So the court culture has changed over time. Kitambo, women would get a lot of child support. But now, because women are so empowered, they are more and more being required to
also chip in
and contribute. So don't take anything for granted. Read about it, research. I wanted to say that if you are planning to leave your marriage, think through it, pray through it. Then now to answer your question about if there's someone who has already left their marriage and they're going through a lot of pain, I think I would want to leave you with, it's possible to heal quickly if you are intentional about it. People say that time is a healer, but have you ever seen an old person, old and grayed, but when they are opening their mouth, the thing that is coming out is like, hey, this one is so jaded, so lost. This one is more confused than me. And I think sometimes if you just go through life without really putting intentional work into healing, into learning, into self-awareness, and putting yourself out there. Therapy, if you get a good therapist, they'll be able to tell you, no, you're wrong on this one.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
It hurts very much. I have been in therapy, not for, of course, divorce, but just generally life. And where? It hurts.
You're like, no, it's not my fault. You're not a good therapist.
Yes.
So putting yourself out there and being ready to be told, you have a problem. And being ready to deal with that problem. It's not work that people want to do. Sometimes people think, so we heal and then what? Will life become easier? I think it actually might. It actually becomes easier because things that used to bother you so much don't bother you so much anymore. You are able to enjoy life more and see life in a different way. You are able to go through crisis in a better way.
Yeah.
So putting in intentional healing work, you can heal quickly. You can heal. When you are in the trenches, it feels like things will never get better.
Yeah.
They do. There's this thing I've heard people say, that you never really heal from the pain of divorce. My experience is you do.
The healing eventually happens.
You can heal. Yeah, you can. This borders on faith. You have to believe that there will be a time when you will feel better, when you'll feel good.
Yeah.
And you won't be a ticking time bomb waiting to explode with tears at every trigger. There will be, there was a time I was somewhere and something happened and someone told me, oh my God, you've changed. And she said that thrice. So the third time I asked her, what do you mean? She said, you are so calm. Everything that used to make you panic, you're not panicking. And this had nothing to do with the divorce.
Yeah.
She was complimenting my personality. So healing is good for you. It's not even like forget the child, and it's good for the child.
Yes.
Even paramount, it's best for the child, but it's so good for you.
It has to start with you.
It has to start with you. Yeah. And then in terms of remarriage, and I think healing, you have to believe that you can get it all. So I think one of the reasons why we hook up with misaligned people is because we don't believe that we can get it all. You don't believe you can get someone who is aligned. You enjoy spending time with them. You like how they look. They treat you well. We've taught ourselves that that's a fantasy.
Yeah.
And then we end up compromising. And then we end up with people you don't even like. So when it ends, you're like, I didn't even like this person.
Yeah.
I was forcing issues and it didn't work. So I would say, believe you can heal. Believe you can get it all. And be ready to wait for it. Wait patiently for it. Wait actively for it. Actively means if someone asks you out for coffee and you like them and they're making sense, go for the coffee. Yeah, don't hide. Don't hide. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. And you can heal.
Thank you. So believe that it's possible for you to heal.
Yeah.
And then patiently wait for it.
Yes.
While working for it.
Yes. Yes. You have to put yourself out there. I think sometimes we try to we want to believe without putting ourselves out there. Because putting yourself out there still hurts.
It's true. It still does.
I'm here talking about healing, but last year there was a time when swimming had to come through. Because I was hurting. So it doesn't mean that you'll get to a place where you're not hurting. It also doesn't mean you will not make mistakes
Yes.
every now and then. But I feel like it's just an elevated life. Even the mistakes you make they're not as
Yes.
yeah.
I like that. I like that. I like that. It's a journey. So we can say it's a journey. Healing is a journey. For sure. Thank you so much, Lillian. That was such a beautiful conversation. And thank you so much for making time to come sit here with us. Nasema asante sana sana sana. And to our audience, in case you have any questions for Lillian, please leave them in the comment section. I'm sure she would be more than happy to answer some of them. Sindio? Yes. And for the 5 people that want the book, please remember to email me with why you deserve that book. And we will make sure it gets to you. Sindio?
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you. That was such a beautiful conversation.
Thank you as well. I've
And
enjoyed.
I hope you can, let's see the questions they come up with. Ikiwa ni maswali tunafaa kujibu hapa, nitakuita tena. You come, we sit, we answer those questions.
I would love to.
Yes,
I think it's a good conversation.
It was a very good conversation. Thank you so much. And until next time, guys, bye. Bye. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much.